Hello and welcome everybody to Merlini's Mailbag episode 16, and this one's going to be a rather short one, and it has to deal with pre-spawn planning and preparation. So creeps spawn at 0, 0, 0, and there is a minute and a half preparation time that you can use for whatever you like beforehand. A lot of people just like to go in lane and sit there. A lot of people like to take a bathroom break. A lot of people like to get some food, get a drink. And some people like to protect their jungle, scout out their lanes, and do numerous other things that can actually contribute to an early game advantage. So, Team Alliance killed Roshan with 0:48 seconds left on the clock. What are you doing before creep spawn? And this actually took place during the G1 League Finals versus Team DK, and here's a rather blurry screenshot. Loda as Ursa. Looks like S4 is Beastmaster, I believe, with Aura first. Yep, it definitely looks like it. Aki with Bloodlust, Admiral Bulldog with his bear to tank, and EGM on the last track. And it's very obvious that they are actually doing Roshan just because of their lineup. But if you look at the minimap, all 5 of DK's heroes are still in their jungle, and they kill Roshan, I think, with 48 seconds left, and DK doesn't even make it there in time. So you can make use of this minute and a half period, and this is probably the best use you can get of it, taking out Roshan, but there are many other small things that you can do. So this week's actual question that I received at mailbag@merlinidota.com. Hi Merlini. Often when I watch pro games, I often see the whole team moving to a particular area of the map. Usually the casters will say that they are moving to protect their jungle, or something similar, which I guess makes sense in terms of stopping spawn blocks with wards/sentries, etc. But then why not do that every game? Just as often, I see players simply head to their respective lanes and wait for creeps. I'm really wondering if you can shed any insight onto what factors dictate whether these 5-man roams happen and where on the map they take place. You're the man and stuff, and I appreciate you spreading your nerd dust. Stevie from Brisbane, Australia. Thanks, Stevie. So just answering a couple quick questions. Why not do this every game? Because a lot of people call this like super try-hard strats, but I mean, you do what you can to get an advantage at the beginning of the game, and some people are just lazy. But ideally, an ideal play, you probably want to do it at the start of every game. And you notice if like while I stream, if I'm radiant, I like almost always move to the top of the hill just to check the top spawn, or I'll move into the jungle, and I'm doing something besides sitting in lane. So, what to do before the creep horn sounds? Again, you have 1.5 minutes in captain's mode before the creep horn sounds. So the first thing I like to do is consider both lineups, and then contemplate lanes, items, and skill choices. Buy your items fast, and roll out. Autobot loves to do this. So I'm going to go to a game. This is part of the TI3 Eastern qualifiers. Again, heroes spawned 5 seconds ago. Now they're buying their items, and I'll just let you see how this game progresses. So it takes them 10 seconds to buy their items moving. I think that's a little bit slow, but I mean, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But again, if you're moving out, you might as well move out as soon as possible. So looking at the lineups right now, you need to determine like which team has the better first blood. So like Dazzle kind of sucks for first blood. Again, he doesn't have his slow is like awful. He doesn't have any stuns. His wave is like so pretty long cooldown. Shallow grave really low range. And again, most of these heroes don't have really good skills at first blood, except for Lifestealer. Lifestealer is really good. Nyx is decent, and Tinker is pretty good if they walk into March. But this is a very high level competitive play. Are they actually going to do it? Probably not. And as opposed to Rock's Kiss, so they have Nature's Prophet with Treants to summon and scout out lanes already. They have Magnetar, who can skewer someone back and slow them, 40% slow. They had Rubik with a range, semi-stun, and you can also reposition them. And they have Cog, a 5-second pretty much immobilization. On top of that, they have Rocket Barrage. Rocket Barrage does absurd amounts of damage at level 1, I believe 330 before magic resistance. So they have nothing like that on the side of DD. Nyx is decent again, but it doesn't do any damage. It just slows a lot. If you don't have anything to follow up, then it's not that great. So right off the bat, you know that Rock's Kids has a stronger first blood. You should do this at the start of every game. Which team has a stronger first blood? And if you do, you should definitely make advantage of it by moving into your jungle. So they move out, and even though they only have 4 heroes, they have vision. They will get vision in a second from this Furion Treant, and then they'll be able to see their lanes. On the side of DD, you don't actually know what lanes they're going to do too. Tinker's typically seen as solo, so is Outworld Devourer, but you don't know whether they're going to do a safe lane, off lane, whatever. And they actually do Nyx solo top, which is a little bit unusual, but So this treant is scouting out Roshan. They aren't doing Roshan, and then they lay a ward over here. So if you look at this ward, it actually will see them if I'm trying to do the vision thingy. I think it's F2. Yeah, F2. So it can actually see them as they round this corner if they want to lay a ward over here. So this ward is very unlikely to get sentryed, and they already have a pretty good advantage to start. They can see anyone coming into this lane, and they know that no one has warded their jungle just because they've moved out so fast. They had a treant over here, so they can't approach from up here. They could have smoked through here, but that's very, very unlikely given their lineup, and they have vision if anyone can walk in there. So already they have a pretty good start, and they have pretty much their jungle secured. They can't run past the river, and it's very important for their supports to be able to get this farm, to stack camps for Gyrocopter later to hit level 6 so they can be more useful, etc. And both teams will lay wards prior to the creep spawn just so they can get off to a good start. And then Bucky Mad puts an observer ward here, and then the last thing they want to do is secure the runes. So at 0-0-0, when the creep horn spawns, the runes will spawn too, and they manage to deny their earlier illusion rune, even with a lot of Rock's Kisses heroes there, and they can also determine some of their lanes already. So Radiant knows that they have Tinker and Dazzle on bottom because they can see that they went up here as opposed to over here, which probably means a triple lane involving a Tinker and not a Nyx, which I would actually predict, and most likely OD mid. It could be Nyx mid, but almost no teams put Nyx mid, so they gained a lot of information before the creeps reach the lane. They know where their lanes are, that they know that they haven't actually warded, and that's already a huge start. They can do a rotation if they want to right now without losing anything. They can stand over here and see if anyone lays a ward and immediately deward it with the help of sentry wards. Rubik has one on him as well as smoke, so they're already prepared, and this is how you get off to a good start. And so I consider both lineups. Radiant had the better first blood lineup because of Cogs, because of Rocket Barrage. Contemplate lanes, items, and skills. If you click on some of the heroes, they actually didn't skill yet. So sometimes Magnuses want Shockwave at level 1 for the couple last hits so they can get Bottle. Sometimes they want Empower so they can last hit. Sometimes they need Skewer in case they need escape. But Skewer is usually best for first blood, but again, not best for laning. And you want to buy the items fast. They took around 10 seconds and then roll out. So they moved to the bottom jungle, did what they wanted to do, scout out lanes, laid wards, secured the jungle. So you can also get an easy first blood. So heroes with long duration level 1 spells, Nyx's Open Wounds, Clockwork's Cogs, again 5 seconds for Clockwork's Cogs, and the duration and the slow president is maximum at level 1. Or high damage level 1 spells, Gyro's Rocket Barrage, Darkseer's Ion Shell are best for this. One hero, for example, that's not good for this is Lion. His level 1 stun's only like 1 second long. It scales like 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5 I believe, and he's not that great at level 1. So all those stuns are usually good for first blood. It's not all stuns that are good for it. So approach from the high ground or fog or use smoke. So notice that the Radiant was almost always sitting up the hill, up the river, or and they would be ready if someone approached from the lane. And first blood is reliable gold, and this is actually pretty important. So it's like 400 reliable gold goes to the first blood, and as important as it is for getting it for your team, it's also important to deny to other teams this 400 gold, and sometimes that's overlooked. Secondly, scouting out lanes. Summons are best for this, most notably Lone Druid Spirit Bear, as well as Nature's Prophet's Force of Nature. You can also use something like Clockwork, Goblin's Rocket, but again, Assault Battery and Cogs are usually better choices for First Blood. And use Observer Wards if you have to. Notice they laid Observer Wards like even before 30 seconds before the creep spawn, just for that little bit of extra information. And you can do rotations again if it's necessary. For example, if you scout like a Lone Druid solo, a lot of people like to pair Nyx versus that, as opposed to a triple lane or whatever it may be, and getting this early advantage for the first couple minutes can mean a lot. And laning is actually very, very important. I would say it comprises like a lot to how teams win a game, and although it doesn't matter as much in a pub, it matters heavily in competitive play. So protecting your jungle, you always want to check the opponent's items. If they don't have observer wards, then they're most likely not going to ward your spawn, or they've already used it. But if you're already out there, if you buy your items really fast and get to your jungle, you'll see whether or not they have observer wards, whether or not they have sentries and you're safe to ward, whether or not they have a smoke and they want to rotate and gank the other lane. All those are very, very important, or even a TP scroll. And you either want to buy sentries at the start or save 200 gold just in case. I would recommend buying sentries at the start because Sometimes people may pick up an invis rune, sometimes they may have an invisible hero. Sometimes you are thinking that they might smoke gank, sometimes they just lay some ninja wards, and you always want to have that at start just in case. And lastly, securing the rune. An early rune can drastically upset the balance in any of the lanes. And mid is usually stalemate, but if you can first blood any of them before the creep spawn or even the first wave, that can set them back huge, especially if they go like a bottle rush build. And in terms of rune, like potency, I would probably say haste is about equal to DD, is about equal to invis in terms of first blood potential. Illusions is a little bit less useful. It's really useful for blocking spawns and scouting out, but not actually for first blood. And regen is the least useful of them all. So all in all, these are the things that you can do for pre-spawn planning and preparation. Although a lot of people deem it tryhard, you'll usually see me scouting out lanes or making sure that the rune is there, and just a lot of small things, just so you don't feed an early first blood, just so you can get some more neutrals to spawn. Just get a little bit more information. For those of you that play StarCraft, like scouting is like one of the most important parts of the game, and it's important in Dota too. And a lot of people neglect to take advantage of this 90-second pre-spawn period. Thanks everybody for watching. I recently launched my website. I launched it on, I think, Monday, June 10th. So check that out, www.merlinidota.com. I upload all my mailbags there. And if you like my content, please follow me at youtube.com/merlinidota. Again, I do this every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central. Thanks, everybody, for watching.